Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and of course, continuing on with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles review marathon. That's right, we've come up to the third Ninja Turtles film, and the second sequel. That's right, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time. And yeah, first off, I'd like to point out the third Ninja Turtles film, apparently because it never had that title, but it kind of does. I mean, you know, the thing is, the first sequel, it was titled The Secret of the Ooze, so clearly the third Ninja Turtles film / the second sequel has to have a title, you know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, apparently, because, you know, there is a Ninja Turtles video game that's called Turtles in Time, but I guess, apparently, the third Ninja Turtles film shares the same title, Turtles in Time. I mean, you know, for one thing, this has to do with the Turtles going back in time, so there's that. And, boy, Ninja Turtles 3 could have been a heck of a lot good, like, right next to the first two. I mean, it could have been, but boy, it turned out to be a disaster and quite a mess of a movie. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and read the description / the story. Reporter April O'Neil, once again played by Paige Turco, purchases an ancient Japanese scepter that can cause those simultaneously holding it in a different centuries to switch places in time. When she is transported to the 16th century Japan, her crime-fighting pals, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, pursue her after landing in the past. The Turtles learn April has been captured by the villainous Lord Noringa, if I'm saying that name right, played by Sab Shimono. To rescue her, they must team up with the rebel leader, Misu, played by Vivian Wu. So the story for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time, I mean, you know, I don't think it was that bad. And, you know, the movie itself, I don't think it was that bad. I understood where this movie was going and, you know, what it was about and, you know, the Turtles, time traveling, you know, back to, you know, the old Japan and in the 16th century. And, you know, the time and setting for, you know, old Japan and where the Turtles are at and, you know, rescuing April O'Neil taking place in 1603. And yeah, because again, Ninja Turtles 3 could have been a heck of a lot good right next to the first two films. But, you know, it just, you know, this movie just had bad luck, and that's all there is. And, you know, because, yeah, and as I read, April O'Neil, because, you know, what she got at, like, I think, like, at the black market, I want to say, and, well, the Turtles, they're still in the same hideout that they discovered in, you know, the first sequel in that, like, abandoned subway tunnel, and, you know, she finds the scepter, and yeah, because what happens is, you know, lightning strikes, and it, you know, basically, yeah, sending April back to old Japan and summoning someone else in the Turtles' time, basically. And that was, oh gosh, like, that was Kenshin. Yeah, Kenshin, played by Adon Hanze, if I'm saying his name right. So yeah, they swap places and, you know, times of where they're at. And April O'Neil, like, you know, being, of course, taken in captive and so on, and, like, they think that she's a witch. And yeah, one of the villains of this movie, yeah, Lord Nornga, I don't think I'm saying his name right, so I apologize. You know me. being played by Sab Shimono. Yeah, I recognize Sab Shimono. I've seen him in that one Robin Williams film, Old Dogs. He plays Robin Williams and John Travolta's boss. So, yeah, I remember him from that. It's true. So, yeah, I mean, because I don't think he was that bad playing the villain, and not to mention his villainous character. He's actually the father of Kenshin, but also, the Japanese woman, like the rebel leader, Mitsu, again, as I said, played by Vivian Wu. She's actually, Mitsu's actually Kenshin's husband, and which makes her the villain's daughter-in-law. So yeah. So, unfortunately, the villain's son goes missing, and, well, of course, they don't know where the heck he is, and they think that it's April O'Neil's doing, because, thinking that she's a witch. And and another villain in this movie, and, slash antagonist, Walker, this English guy and his men, they're in Japan, and basically Walker is a weapons dealer, and Walker being played by Stuart Wilson. And I remember Stuart Wilson being one of the main villains of the first Zorro movie, with Antonio Banderas and Anthony Hopkins. Yeah, him. I don't think these two villains were that bad. I mean, I guess, I can tell to the Ninja Turtles fans, when they saw this movie, like, they wished it would have been Shredder once again. Maybe an ancestor of Shredder. That would have been a good opportunity to do something like that. But nope. Just, have, two villains that have no relation, especially the Japanese villain, the Lord Norangaga, being related to Shredder. Not being related to Shredder whatsoever. That was a bummer. Come on, they should have at least done that, have him be connected and be an ancestor to Shredder. Would have made total sense, and it would have been fine. But, for me, it didn't bother me. It was okay, and no hard feelings to the Ninja Turtles fans whatsoever. You just hear me out. Also, Kenshi coming into the Turtles' time, and, his encounter with the Turtles, and when he encounters Splinter, pretty hilarious. It's like, when someone encounters the Turtles and they're a bit shocked, and when they see Splinter, usually, someone faints, and it's always Splinter that makes someone faint. Seeing a giant rat, that tops it off. And by the way, let's talk about, the Turtles and Splinter in this movie. The practical effects and puppetry, costumes, you name it, for the Turtles and Splinter. Well, yeah, because, unfortunately, the Jim Henson Company did not do the third Ninja Turtles movie. Why didn't they? Another company, took over and did the puppetry and practical effects for the Turtles and Splinter. And the Turtles and Splinter in this film, they look god-awful. I mean, to those that say, to them, they look god-awful. But, I mean, I won't deny it. Besides, how the Turtles looked in the first two films, they were fantastic, with great lip movement and facial expressions. All of that. But in this, not so much. But, I mean, I'll be honest, it didn't bother me, but I can really understand it, and there are some shots where some of their facial expressions, not so good. I think one of them being Raphael, there's one shot with his teeth, oh gosh, it's obvious. And Splinter, not so good, because I don't think throughout this whole movie we see his full body. We did in the first two, why not in this? And, even people, here's another thing. People have joked and have said that, in this film, they look a lot like how, they would appear in Sesame Street. Like, they look like Sesame Street Muppets. Yeah, that's understandable. But, what can you do? Again, bad luck for this movie. So continuing on with, what's going on in the film, the story, of course, the turtles, using the scepter, and of course, swapping places with those in a different timeline. And when they arrive in, the 16th century of Japan, they swap places with the villain's honor guards. Yeah, so the honor guards, they arrive in, the Turtles timeline. And by the way, because we once again get the appearance of Casey Jones, and once again played by Ellis Cotes. Yeah, again, if I'm, saying his full name right. So, yeah, because, as I talked about in my review of The Secret of the Ooze, Casey Jones was literally absent, and no mention of him whatsoever. Where did he go? I mean, okay, because, he's into hockey and so on. Was he doing something with hockey? Stuff like that? And what about him and April? Because, they became a thing at the end of the first film. So, again, not even in the third film do they ever explain this, and nor does Casey question about where April is. None whatsoever. There's no, say, scene where, Casey asks Splinter and the Turtles where April is. None of that. Why did they not do that? It makes no sense. Geez Louise, you left out something, movie. A big detail. And not to mention, a big detail in the first sequel with Casey's absence. Come on. But, who can argue? It's one of those things in movies. You get my point. But yeah. But still, overall, it's nice to see Casey come back. Still the same Casey, in the first film. And basically, Casey coming in and, helping out Splinter to keep an eye on, Kenshin in case he goes insane. Well, and that goes for the honor guards because, them coming in and, because... Yes, I mean, I think, yes, moments between, the honor guards and with Casey are pretty funny, and especially because when, later on in the movie, they're watching hockey on TV, they're starting to learn and know these, modern stuff from television and hockey and stuff like that. Even Casey teaching them how to play hockey, and what they do is the total opposite, they're just, fighting and so on. But yeah, but with the Turtles arriving in, 1603, because again, they swapped places with the honor guards. They're wearing the honor guards' armor. At one point, I think it was, I remember now correctly. Michelangelo gets separated between, the three turtles. So he goes separate. And at one point, he is knocked out and encounters Mitsu and, the villagers who, because we see the village of, the people that she is leading and so on. And not to mention, we meet Mitsu's younger brother, Yoshi, and their grandfather. And yeah, because Yoshi, you know what? They never established this, and, well, I mean, if they wanted to have Yoshi be connected, well, we know for a fact that Splinter's human master was named Yoshi, and, we have a character named Yoshi in this film. So what if Yoshi in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 was related to Yoshi, an ancestor? If you're following what I'm saying, that would have been perfect. But no, they never did this. And, well, not to mention, because also, April, she encounters, because she's thrown in the dungeon, and, one of Walker's, like, men is thrown into the dungeon as well, and that being Wit, being played by, Alyssa Cotis. Yeah, again, Casey Jones. Yeah, so basically Wit is an ancestor of Casey Jones. So, she mistakens Wit for Casey, and she even sees a rat who, like, thinking that rat could be an ancestor of Splinter. Probably so. I mean, we translate from that rat to Splinter, so I think it's obvious. So, So, yeah. So, with Michelangelo, because, he encounters Mitsu and the Japanese people at this village, yeah, because, yeah, and when Donatello, Raphael, and Leonardo, they go in and they help / rescue April, and Wit tags along with them, and of course, wouldn't you know it, some of the Japanese guards and the English guys, they encounter the turtles, they see them, and like, knowing them in, like, the old days, because, like, calling them, like, demons and stuff like that, so you get the point. Yeah, and by the way, because, like, the funny moments in this movie, I think some work, and there are those that do not work. Like, I mean, Michelangelo's still quoting some movies, and, like, you name it, from, like, Elvis, Kurt Russell, Clint Eastwood. Like, I mean, they should have worked, the right way. You get the point. And you know what? This film, I think it tries its best with some emotional stuff. I think it does, but it could have been a lot better, It could have been. Yeah, because one of the funny moments, like, after they escape, they rescue April, and along with Wit, they help Wit as well. They go down like a sewer drain, I want to say, and one of the turtles says, I'm a turtle and I can't get up. I think, yeah, clearly that's a reference to that commercial, where, the old lady says, I've fallen and I can't get up. Like, how many times has that joke been done, in other materials? You get my point. And, yeah, I don't know. I guess that how the joke is done in this, I'm a turtle and I can't get up, like, I guess it's mutual. Like, there would be those that would find something like that funny, but those just, So, So, yeah, they try and find Michelangelo, and, well, they, of course, do encounter Mitsu and, like, the Japanese, like, soldiers that serve with her, and, well, there's a little battle that takes place, and, yeah, like, here's another thing, the fighting in this movie, not bad, but seriously, did they had to throw in cartoon sound effects like bonking sounds, or, I don't know, like, throwing somebody? Like, did they have to do that? Nothing like that was done in the first two films. Why did you do it in this? It just makes this movie more bad. You get my point. Oh, well, I mean, that's what they did, so, it's their movie. So they do come to good terms, and, they go back to the village, but when they go back to the village, it's already being attacked, because Walker and his men coming in to attack the village, and of course they once again see the turtles, not to mention Walker sees them as well. And by the way, because I mentioned, Michelangelo, still, like, quoting some movies and mentioning celebrities, well, he called Walker Clint Eastwood. He mistaken Walker for Clint Eastwood. I did chuckle at that. It was okay for me, but, and so, of course, Walker and his men, they are defeated, and, like, basically, yeah, the turtles, they scare them off. And not to mention, another one of Walker's men, because, by the way, if I hadn't mentioned this already, because, yeah, I did, yeah, Wit was part of Walker's men. But another one, Niles, being played by John Aylward. I think I'm saying the last name right. Moments with him, and just kind of being the idiot at times, and even Walker telling Niles, to shut up, Niles, etc. And Niles and his interaction with the turtles, and by the way, they do that to his ears. You know what I'm talking about. And Niles running away from the turtles. Wait for me! Pretty funny. And even at one point, Yoshi is trapped in a burning house, and I think Michelangelo is the one that goes in to rescue Yoshi, and Leonardo is the one that tries to revive Yoshi. And Yoshi, of course, doesn't die, and he's all right. And at this point, Mitsu and hers and Yoshi's grandfather and everybody else in the village, they bow to the turtles, and they're accepted, and they're liked now. And by the way, because like those Japanese scrolls, like pictures, well, earlier in the film, because apparently the turtles, they had ancestors, mutant turtles like them, and I guess the Japanese lord villain, the Japanese people, like, they are well aware that there were mutant turtles, in the scrolls, of course. And so there's that. I mean, I don't know, because we know how the turtles became what they are. I mean, is it possible that they had ancestors, that it happened to them? I don't think it's ever explained. So, what about Splinter? Did he ever have an ancestor that turned into a mutant rat as well? It's a bit confusing, and I'm sure the same goes to any of the Ninja Turtles fans. Just saying. But anyways, and by the way, because after Michelangelo saved Yoshi, moments between Michelangelo and Yoshi, and even Michelangelo giving Yoshi a yo-yo, and at that point, Yoshi gives Michelangelo the scepter, because, the turtles and April, they need to find a way to get back to their rightful time, and I think the scepter that they had, to, get to Japan, first April used it, and then the turtles used it, and I think at that point it was damaged and destroyed, and thus, they have another one, in that timeline, the 16th century. So they have that, but, of course, they have to help Mitsu and to take on the villains, and of course to bring Kenshi back. And by the way, because more on Kenshi, Casey, and Splinter, and with Casey, hanging out with the honor guards, because, another pretty good, funny moment in this film is where the honor guards, they're at this, bar, I want to say, and they're dancing to the Tarzan song, oh, 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 that song, yeah. You know what? That's pretty funny. It is funny, and not to mention, also, a couple of them, they're playing an arcade game, they got the hang of it, apparently, so, they seem to be having a good time, doing that stuff and so on, from, dancing and, playing hockey in their way, playing arcade games, stuff like that. It is pretty funny. So with the turtles, April, Mitsu, going back to the villain's palace, and even at one point they discover the scrolls with the turtles' ancestors, and of course, one of the main villains, Lord Noringa, and, seeing the turtles face to face, and, even Mitsu telling her father-in-law, basically, that, they will die with honor, stuff like that, yeah. And thus, the battle begins, and even like say the Japanese villain and Leonardo having a sword fight, and even say like a couple of times like the bad guys, they sometimes hit like the turtle shells, and that kind of like pisses them off, and like, you know, you shouldn't have done that. And when the Japanese villain, like the main Japanese villain, does it to Leonardo, well, like Leonardo's face, like, and then, you know, going at it, and all he does to the villain when he's got him pinned down to the ground is, you know, chop off his ponytail. That's it. But that's not all, because slicing a rope and the bell hits and lands on the evil Japanese lord villain, so, you know, him. And, well, Walker, he's not through yet, because, you know, now they have to deal with him. And, you know, he's got his men all gun pointing at the turtles in April. And even, like, say, at one point earlier in the film, Wit kind of betrayed, you know, the turtles, April, and Mitsu, and kind of, like, you know, taking in April. But I think, like, he wasn't doing it, you know, because he was evil. Like he made a deal with Walker, but it wasn't as planned. You know, it wasn't part of the deal. So, you know, he didn't I don't think he really betrayed them, and thus, you know, Walker has him join the others to be gun pointed, and the turtles telling Walker that he should be the one to, you know, shoot at them. And of course, you know, then it leads to the turtles, like, telling them, you know, we are demons, and scaring off Walker's men, and Walker fleeing from the turtles. And by the way, because, yeah, Walker, he had 2 pet birds in a cage, and he even, like, takes the birds with him. Like, yeah, I mean, you know, pets are important to you, and, you know, they're important to Walker, but it's like, you know, like, it's like not funny, I guess you could say. You know, when the turtles, they've got Walker up at the rooftop, Walker, he actually has the scepter that they need to get back home. And at one point, Walker, he throws the scepter, but of course, you know, the scepter is catched by one of the turtles. And as for Walker, well, he falls to his doom by, you know, falling into the water. And, oh gosh, when I watched this movie, I was like, are you kidding me? Because the shot where we see Walker, you know, falling into the ocean, it's bad, because when he lands in the water, there's no splash. Like, it's like he just disappears. You know, like, that is a bad effect. Like, what happened? Like, why couldn't they add in a splash? Like, because he lands in the water. There's supposed to be a splash. We hear the splash sound, but no splash, no visual splash. What they could have done is, well, they could have added a splash effect, or they could have just cut straight to the turtles right as he was about to hit the water, and we would have heard the splash. Like, if you're following what I'm saying, like, you get the point. But yeah, Walker, he's defeated. I guess he must have drowned, because that's the end of him. And, you know, the turtles and April, they're about to go home and, you know, saying their goodbyes to Mitsu, Yoshi. But apparently, because Michelangelo, he decides to stay, and Raphael wants to stay as well. Like, I don't know, did I miss something? Because I swear, like, well, I don't know, because especially for Michelangelo, his attachments to Yoshi, etc. Well, and it seemed like he was going to stay, and the same goes for Raphael. But, you know, they know what's right, and even Mitsu told them that they can't stay. They have to be in their rightful time. And golly, because it seems like Michelangelo is this close not to, you know, take one of their hands and, you know, with the scepter. And yeah, because Michelangelo doesn't go back with them, and you think that he's stuck there forever. But nope, he, of course, does come back home where he belongs, and yep, everybody's back together. And of course, the Honor Guards and Kenshi, they're back at their rightful time, and Kenshi reunited with, his wife Mitsu and, his father, and his father being defeated, he learned his lesson. And, and Kenshi and Mitsu, going for a kiss, and, the epilogue to this film, funny moments from the Turtles, and especially Michelangelo, and Splinter, like in the first two films, getting a funny moment right before the movie ends. And, because Splinter saying to Michelangelo, "Yo, dude," and, then Splinter says, "I said it like how Elvis said it in Blue Lagoon." I mean, it's funny. I mean, hey, Splinter, because, he has a good sense of humor. So, he's Splinter. Yeah. And yeah, because, and as the credits are rolling, because the Turtles dancing, and yep, that's how the movie ends. And another thing I almost forgot to talk about, the voices of the Turtles and Splinter. Only two were voiced by different voice actors in this film. Tim Kelleher voices Raphael, Splinter not being voiced by Kevin Clash once again, but this time Splinter being voiced and performed by James Murray. Yeah, and the other three Turtles, well, they're once again voiced by Robbie Rist, voicing Michelangelo, Brian Tocci, once again voicing Leonardo, and Corey Feldman, once again voicing Donatello, because, yeah, Corey Feldman didn't voice Donatello in the first sequel, The Secret of the Ooze. Why didn't he? I don't know. I guess he was unavailable. That's my guess. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time. I thought it was okay, and I enjoyed this film, but I do understand that this film is not the best Ninja Turtles film. But again, it could have been a heck of a lot good, like the first two films. But yeah, sadly, it turned out to be a mess, and yeah, bad luck for this film. And how do I rate Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3? Good question. Well, I'm giving this film 6 out of 10 stars. 6 out of 10 stars for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time. And what about you guys? What did you think of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 itself? What did you think of my review? Leave comments and give this review video a like, as always. So, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time. More review videos coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video/review. And of course, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles review marathon is still continuing. Stay tuned later tonight, because the next Ninja Turtles movie I'm going to be reviewing is animated, and it's computer animated. And yeah, this one, it did not turn out so good either. You probably know what I'm talking about. Stay tuned for that. Take care, and peace out.